Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. This week, Toyota was kind enough to send me the 2025 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid all-wheel drive with the available Premium Plus option group. Overall, I was very impressed with the Camry. It's my first real experience living for more than just a very short time and driving with the Camry in general of any generation. And there's a lot of attributes I now understand as to why the Camry is a popular choice within the midsize sedan segment, especially now that it comes available or standard with the hybrid powertrain with available all-wheel drive. And I think for the 2025 refresh that the vehicle went through, they probably dialed it in even better than that of the pre-refresh version in this generation. Although, as we know, the V6 is no longer available. And I know a lot of people out there really did like the Camry for that specific reason alone. But anyways, today in this video, I want to discuss my likes and dislikes with the 2025 Camry from a fresh Camry perspective, one person that's never really been behind the wheel of it. So without further ado, let's not waste time and get right into it. So starting out with my list of likes as usual with the Camry, the first one has to be the hybrid powertrain as well as the available all-wheel drive. Now this sits in the midsize sedan segment, and the hybrid is not new to the Camry whatsoever. It's been available for many, many years. It could be 10 plus years at this point over the last couple generations of having a Camry hybrid. And overall, it's a very well-rounded powertrain here in the 2025 model year and does have the availability to add all-wheel drive. So essentially how the powertrain is set up, it's a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder at the front of the vehicle, and with the all-wheel drive has 3 electric motors, 2 at the front axle, and then adds a 3rd motor for the rear axle, so there's no drive shaft or any connection mechanically between the front wheels and the back wheels. The rear motor has been bumped up in output from the pre-facelift or pre-refresh versions to around 40 horsepower of output alone. And I think the powertrain as a whole is extremely smooth, very responsive, and it returns pretty good fuel economy as well. And believe it or not, I was actually able to test out the all-wheel drive system in a little bit of fresh snow that we got on the first day with the vehicle. And it was interesting to actually see from the outside. I actually filmed and set up a little clip of me testing out the all-wheel drive. And you could tell it's not a super powerful electric motor at the back, but it does enough to actually start propelling the vehicle forward much easier than that of a front-wheel drive only vehicle. And a lot of that does come down to tire selection as well. Now moving on to my second like with the Camry, specifically the way that this one is equipped, is going to be the JBL premium audio system. This has a good amount of power behind it. I found the door speakers and the EQ settings within the dashboard to be very adjustable and user configurable. Overall, it just had a good amount of power behind it. I was not, wanting more bass or more low-end frequencies. I was able to dial in how I prefer to listen to music. And overall, I think it's just a good option to have if you're looking at a Camry and like to enjoy music either at higher volumes or just with a little bit more quality than that of the basic system. So overall, I was very happy with the JBL audio system. That's not something I can say in every Toyota product, for example, but I think the Camry was very good. But that did come with a small caveat I will mention in my dislike section, in terms of kind of build quality and things like that. Now my third like with the Camry actually has to do with the color changing running light depending on if it's daytime or nighttime or the LED headlights are turned on or off. So I actually didn't notice this at first, but during the day under normal conditions, either on the auto headlights or just with the headlights turned off, it's going to be a nice crisp white daytime running light. But as soon as the automatic headlights switch over to the nighttime mode and the headlights turn on, it turns into an amber LED running light, for the turn signals and things like that. So Toyota is basically taking advantage of the LED hardware or chipset that it's already inside the vehicle. Now my fourth like with the Camry actually has to do again with the way that this particular one is spec'd, and that is going to be the color combination as well as the material usage inside the cabin. So this one is the deep ocean metallic exterior, or kind of the teal outside with the lighter leather interior. And overall, I think this color combination works extremely well, and it's not something I regularly see out on the roadway, believe it or not. So I'm not exactly sure if this exterior color is kind of unique or a lot of people don't choose it, But I really haven't seen that many teal Camrys driving around for the 2025 model year, even though I've seen a lot of brand new Camrys driving around. But I like the fact also that you can choose between the XLE and XSE and get essentially the same features and options, just with a slightly different exterior and interior appearance. Basically, 4 different styles or different preferences in the trim lineup. But when we look on the inside, this one being the XLE, it has a lot of nice premium soft touch materials in most of the places that one would expect. Now they could do a little bit better around the center console area where your knee might make impact, and a little bit on the door panel, but overall a lot of the materials on the inside are very, very comfortable. The seats are extremely comfortable. Of course, they're going to be heated, ventilated on this one with the Premium Plus package. And I really didn't have any complaints with how the interior design was inside this vehicle or the material usage. And that is pretty much going to do it for my list of likes with the 2025 Camry. Now let's get into things that I didn't love so much about it, both in terms of maybe functional aspects and how some of the features worked, as well as certain design or packaging choices. My first dislike, again, is specific to how this vehicle was equipped, and that was the built-in dash cam location. So this is an additional Toyota accessory that you can get on many or most of their models within the lineup. This particular one did have it, and I like the fact that Toyota makes it available, but my biggest gripe about it is where it's located in relation to the rear view mirror on the driver's side. Now, I totally understand this from a accessibility, in case you need to press the power button, the mic button, or the incident button that can save the files and kind of lock down them. But it just kind of got in the way of your overall view out of the front window, and felt a little bit more cramped because it had an extra, chunk taken up there. So I kind of would rather have it on the passenger side of the vehicle, even if it was a little bit harder to access in terms of some of those buttons. I still think you could be able to reach around and it would be out of your way of your, daily line of sight. So again, that's a subjective thing. A lot of people out there might not have a big deal with it. But overall, that was something I noticed immediately upon getting inside the vehicle. My second dislike is a very interesting one. It's not a common issue I have on vehicles, but the heated seats inside this vehicle get so hot that you might actually burn yourself, or at a minimum get extremely uncomfortable using the heated seats on anything more than level 1. So again, I turn my heated seats on inside of vehicles regularly. It was, in the mid 20 degrees. Some days I had the vehicle, so I just threw it on high at level 3. And very shortly after turning the seats on, it was very apparent how hot the seats actually get. Now, I don't know if this is a common thing from the last couple of years of Toyota Camry or just Camrys in general, but I was blown away about how hot the seats actually got. So I turned it down to level 2, still very hot, more than I actually need. And then level 1 is about perfect for driving around in cold conditions. And I'm not one to leave my seat on low or turn it off after I, get the seat warm. I usually leave my own personal vehicle at a minimum of level 2, and the Camry seats were just way hotter than even I preferred. So interesting thing, not a bad thing, but I would, most of the time just be using level 1. So it's kind of a waste to have 3 different settings if they're way too hot for comfort anyway. Now, moving on to my third dislike, that is going to be the fact that there is no remote start on the key fob. Yes, I know you can use the app integrated services for remote start on the vehicle, but when the car is sitting in your driveway, it's cold outside, you just want to let it run for a couple minutes before you head out. It really would be nice to have a remote start on the key fob. And I think that's something that certain manufacturers have learned and adapted over the years. Certain manufacturers had always had remote start on the key fob. And the fact that some do not have remote start on the key fob is a little bit of a bummer. So definitely a dislike here in the Midwest this time of year. My fourth dislike is going to be the sit up reminder that pops up on the digital cluster using the facial recognition or facial monitor mounted on the steering column. I'm not exactly sure why I had a huge issue with this over my last week with the vehicle. I'm gonna guess that's something to do with my seating position and the way the steering column was positioned in relation to everything. But every single time I drove the car, I would be getting a reminder every 15, 20 seconds to sit up, and that message would be coming up on the digital cluster. I mean, this was something that annoyed me beyond belief because it would be taking up that whole middle section of the cluster. And the fact that it automatically pops up, goes away, comes back. I mean, it was so frequent. It was almost like, is something broken here with the sensor? Because I didn't think I was really in the way, or, was sitting weird to the sensor couldn't see my face, but the message was just so annoying. And I have a clip or a picture of it that I'll go ahead and insert on the screen so you guys know what I'm talking about. But I've never had that experience in any other vehicle, both Toyota, Lexus, or any other brand, so frequently that that might honestly be a deal breaker if you can't disable that feature or that notification from coming up, because I was comfortable in the way I was driving the vehicle. I think the sensor was seeing, the majority of my face, but obviously it must not have been. So if you guys have that issue on a Camry, leave that down in the comment section below. Not exactly sure if that's a common issue or if it was something just with how I had the car set up. Now moving on to my fifth and final dislike, that is going to be the door close sound as well as the interior rattles, specifically for the premium audio system. So this goes back to my like of the JBL audio system, but also something I noticed just opening and closing the doors is they sound very hollow, they sound pretty cheap, and there's just a little bit of additional rattle or material flex that happens from the outside that you notice when you close it. Now this translates actually onto the inside, because when you turn that premium audio system up above level, maybe 50% or so, you really start to hear some of the plastics start to rattle, creak, there's vibrations. And I think this is a little bit unfortunate because I think the system sounds quite good, but as soon as you start getting that noise that comes from these plastics when the bass or the deeper frequencies start to hit, it really ruins the overall experience. So that is something that was kind of disappointing given the vehicle's price point of just over $42,000 as equipped. And just being a Toyota in general, I generally don't have any issues with build quality, but this one definitely was showing signs of that. So unfortunately did have a few creaks and rattles for the front door panels in specific. And paired with that premium audio system, you really couldn't enjoy the higher volumes of it without some of those material or build quality issues showing their face inside the two front door panels specifically. So overall, I think that is pretty much going to do it here with my list of likes and dislikes with the 2025 Toyota Camry. As a whole, very positive experience. I think obviously the two biggest issues were going to be in relation to the sound system and that driver assistance facial monitor, reminding me every 10 seconds I'm driving to sit up. I mean, that was just bad. But the way the vehicle drove as a whole, I was very, happy with it. Decent fuel economy, although nowhere near the EPA ratings in the cold conditions, doing a lot of the excess idling that I do for filming these videos and whatnot for you guys. So, I would definitely check one out if you guys are interested in either having all-wheel drive in the midsize sedan segment, specifically with a hybrid powertrain, or just want some additional creature comforts over that of some of what the competitors currently offer. But I think in general, the midsize sedan segment, although certain manufacturers have dropped out over the years, is fairly competitive, and I think as a whole there's a good selection with slightly different takes depending on what your style and ultimate opinion is of these vehicles. But the Camry, I think, was incredibly smooth, well refined, and would certainly be a fantastic vehicle to live with on a daily basis. I now understand why it's people's choice, or why you see so many of them driving around on the road, because it's just a solid, well-rounded vehicle, well-rounded package. And although it might not look the best in terms of styling, in my opinion, especially from the back end with this refresh, it's not an ugly vehicle. It's spacious, has a lot of the things that one would expect. So as a whole, I would go ahead and check one out for sure if you guys are in the midsize sedan segment and, like I said, really want a hybrid. Now, if you don't want a hybrid, unfortunately, you will have to look elsewhere for the 2025 model year. But yeah, I enjoyed the vehicle, and you guys will have to let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, whether you've owned a Camry Hybrid, or are interested in purchasing one. Do you agree or disagree with my likes or dislikes on this list? And tell me yours. If you want to add anything down in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys enjoyed this video and or found something helpful, hit that like button below, subscribe. Check out my dedicated driving review video of this vehicle if you want a little bit more of my opinion on how the vehicle drives and things like that. And I want to give a huge thanks to Toyota for sending the vehicle out for me to test and review. But anyways, I appreciate continued support and hope to see you guys in the next one.